Welcome to Monk's Temple. As you settle into this moment, let the edges of your day soften. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Simply allow yourself to be present, here in this shared quiet. I'd like to speak with you about a journey we are all on, often without a map. It's the journey of accumulation. Not of wealth or things, but of moments. Every choice, every whispered thought, every repeated reaction is a brick. And you, often unknowingly, are the mason, building the inner home where your future self will reside. This isn't about predicting fate. It's about recognizing a profound truth that Buddhism illuminates with gentle clarity. Your future well-being is not a mystery written in the stars, it is a construction project happening in the present, with the materials of your daily life. Let me tell you about a woman named Alara who lived by the sea. Every morning, without fail, she would walk down to the shore just before dawn. It wasn't for exercise. She would simply stand at the water's edge, let the cool foam wash over her bare feet, and watch the horizon until the sun broke free of the water. She did this in sunshine, in fog, in bitter cold. Neighbors called it a charming quirk. For 40 years, this was her silent ritual. When age made the walk difficult, her children assumed she'd be adrift, having lost her anchor. They visited to find her in her sheltered porch facing east. At the same pre-dawn hour, she would wrap herself in a blanket, open the window, and sit perfectly still, watching the same light spread across the sky from her chair. She hadn't lost her ritual, the ritual had so thoroughly built a capacity for patient, awe-filled stillness within her that the location became irrelevant. Her old age was infused with the pre-dawn peace she had practiced for a lifetime. What quiet, personal ceremony are you faithfully performing that is, brick by brick, building a sanctuary within you? If this reflection on building inner resilience speaks to you, please consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. It's a gentle way to keep these insights close, like a compass for the heart. Buddhism provides the blueprint for understanding this inner construction. It's a philosophy of radical cause and effect. The Buddha taught that our lives are not a series of random events, but a coherent story written by our own intentions and actions. Imagine your consciousness as a vast, blank piece of parchment. Every day, you are writing on it. Some marks are bold and deliberate, acts of kindness, moments of courage, decisions made with care. But many more are the faint, almost invisible pencil strokes of habit. The automatic judgment, the withheld apology, the small indulgence you justify, the burst of irritation you quickly dismiss. You might think these faint marks don't matter, that they'll be erased by time. But the parchment remembers every stroke. Over years, these faint, repeated lines darken and deepen. They become the predominant text of your being. Old age, then, is not a new chapter with a different author. It is the moment the manuscript is held up to the light, and you read aloud, in a clear voice, the story you have been writing all along, every beautiful phrase and every messy scribble. This is karma, not as punishment, but as the natural law of moral and mental causation. You are both the author and the eventual reader of your life. Let's begin with the most tangible aspect of our being, the physical form. In our modern rush, we often treat our bodies like inconvenient vehicles. We demand high performance with minimal maintenance, ignore the warning lights, and resent them when they stall. We operate from a sense of frantic ownership, this is my problem to fix. Buddhism invites a more graceful, and ultimately more responsible, relationship. It suggests the body is not a possession, but a sacred trust. It is a temporary, exquisite instrument you have been given on loan from nature itself. Consider if a master musician lent you their priceless violin for a year. Your approach would be one of reverence, stewardship, and attentive care. You would learn its quirks, respect its limits, and keep it in perfect condition, knowing it must be returned. Your body is that instrument. And it keeps a meticulous, non-negotiable record of your stewardship. Every act of mindful care, restful sleep, nourishing food, gentle movement, is a note of gratitude in its logbook. Every act of neglect or abuse, chronic stress, poor fuel, ignored exhaustion, is a scratch on its surface, a debt incurred. The body does not judge you as a person. It simply, faithfully, records the treatment it receives. I recall a tailor in a small mountain town named Eris. His work was legendary for its durability and perfect fit. He once explained his secret: I listened to the cloth. He wouldn't force a needle through a thick seam, he'd find the path of least resistance. He treated his own aging body with the same principle. In his 70s, his eyesight began to waver for fine detail. His peers told him to retire. Instead, Eris shifted his craft. He began teaching. He would have young apprentices do the precise stitching under his direction, while he focused on the overall design, the cut of the fabric, the transfer of an intuition that no sharp eye could teach. He adapted his relationship to his work, working with his changing capacities rather than fighting against them. His later years were rich with mentorship and legacy, not defined by loss. He had practiced dialogue with his limitations, so when they spoke louder, he knew how to converse. Most of us, however, treat the body's signals as static to be tuned out. Discomfort is a message in a bottle, washed up on the shore of our awareness. We throw it back into the sea, unopened. But the messages keep coming. A dull ache becomes a sharp pain. Lingering tiredness becomes burnout. The body is a patient correspondent, but it is not an endless one. It will eventually send a message you cannot ignore, written in the bold script of crisis. The great illusion of our prime years is the body's generosity. It is so forgiving, so resilient, it allows us to live on credit, skipping sleep, eating poorly, holding tension, without an immediate foreclosure. We mistake this line of credit for infinite wealth. Buddhism names this clearly: ignorance of consequence. The principle of cause and effect does not vanish because the results are deferred. They accrue interest in the hidden ledger. Old age can feel like a sudden financial audit, not because the rules are unfair, but because the bill for a lifetime of choices is finally presented, all at once. The body, impartial as an accountant, simply states the balance. The vitality you invested in, or the depletion you mortgaged. The flexibility you nurtured, or the stiffness you financed. This is the reconciliation. Therefore, daily care for this entrusted instrument is not a vanity project or a harsh regimen. It is a practice of conscious partnership. It is the quiet language of respect. You move your body not to punish it, but to celebrate its ability to move. You choose wholesome food not out of restriction, but as an act of honoring the life that sustains your life. You prioritize rest not as laziness, but as sacred maintenance on the loaned instrument. These are the small, daily deposits of awareness. I stretched into the morning light. I drank water when I was thirsty. I paused when I was overwhelmed. They communicate to the body, I am your attentive guardian. I value this journey we are on together. This is practical reverence. You savor ease now so its memory is a comfort when effort is required. You cultivate a gentle strength now so it leaves an imprint of resilience for the future. This is not living in fear of tomorrow. It is living in wise and loving relationship with today, which is the sole foundation upon which all your tomorrows will be built. Now, let's turn our gaze inward, from the instrument to the musician, from the body to the mind. We often approach our inner world as if it's a battlefield. We see thoughts as enemies to be subdued, emotions as storms to be weathered, and we believe peace is achieved through sheer force of will. Buddhism offers a different, more compassionate metaphor. What if the mind is not a battlefield, but a vast sky? A sky that is inherently clear, open, and boundless. Thoughts and emotions are not the sky itself, they are the weather that moves through it. Clouds of worry, showers of grief, brilliant sunshine of joy, rolling thunder of anger, they all appear, change, and pass away. Our suffering doesn't come from the weather. It comes from our mistaken belief that we are the weather. We build our identity around a passing storm cloud, believing it defines the entire sky, forgetting the limitless blue that holds it. The power in this view is that it changes our relationship with our own experience. We are not tasked with stopping the clouds, an impossible and exhausting fight. Our practice is to remember the sky. To cultivate the spacious, aware presence that can observe the storm without being shattered by it. This is the core of the Buddhist teaching on the mind. It is about recognition, not control. The untrained mind is like a person standing in a field, shouting at the rain to stop, getting drenched and miserable. The trained mind is like a person who sees the rain, feels its coolness, and simply goes inside to sit by the window, watching it fall, knowing it will pass. Let me share a story about a man named Leo. Leo was a successful architect, a master of designing solid, enduring structures. His mind worked the same way. He built intricate, logical arguments and defended them fiercely. He was known for his sharp debates. He saw his intellectual rigidity as strength. As he entered his later years, his children grew independent, his professional battles faded, and the structures of his identity felt less necessary. Instead of feeling free, he felt a terrifying emptiness. The debates in his mind didn't stop, they turned inward. He'd argue with himself for hours over past decisions, replaying conflicts he'd won, but now felt hollow. His mind, trained for decades in the weather pattern of conflict and defense, now had no external opponent. So it created internal ones. His old age was mentally exhausting because he had only ever practiced one kind of weather, storms of argument. He had never learned to simply be in the calm, open sky between them. He had mistaken the storm for his entire nature. This is the process of samskara in Buddhism, the formation of mental habits. Every time you react in a certain way, you groove a pathway in the mind. It's like a path through a meadow. The first time you walk a new route, it's barely visible. The 100th time, it's a clear, dirt trail. The 1000th time, it's a deep rut, and your feet automatically fall into it, even if it leads to a place you no longer wish to go. Your daily reactions. The flash of jealousy, the snap of judgment, the spiral of anxiety, are you walking the path? The more you walk it, the harder it is to step out of the rut. Old age presents the landscape of your life with fewer external distractions. You are left standing in the meadow, and the deepest, most traveled ruts are the ones that pull at your feet. They feel like your only possible direction. But they are not. They are just the paths you practiced. So, the daily mental work is not about filling the sky with good clouds and banishing bad ones. It is the practice of sky gazing. It is cultivating the capacity to sit back and observe the weather patterns without getting lost in them. This is often called mindfulness, but it's more fundamental than a technique. It is a homecoming to your true nature as the aware space, not the passing content. When a dark cloud of anger forms, instead of becoming the thunder, you can learn to note, anger is here. You feel its heat, its energy, but you also feel the vast, still sky that contains it. This doesn't suppress the anger, it puts it in its proper context, preventing it from consuming the whole of you. When a cold front of sadness moves in, you can learn to say, "This is sadness." You allow its rain to fall, but from the vantage point of the sky, you know it is not permanent. You will not drown in it. Meditation is the formal practice of sky gazing. It's setting aside time to simply be the sky, to rest as awareness itself. In those moments, you are not walking the old ruts. You are remembering the whole meadow. You are strengthening the muscle of recognition. This is why it's considered mental hygiene. It's the daily cleaning of the window so you can see the sky clearly, not just the mud splashed upon it. This leads us to one of the heaviest and stickiest forms of weather, attachment. In the Buddhist sense, attachment isn't love or healthy commitment. It is the clinging that arises when we mistake a passing weather system for our true home. It's looking at a particularly beautiful, golden sunset cloud and thinking, "This is so perfect. It must stay forever. My happiness depends on it remaining right here." We build a little mental house on that cloud. We decorate it. We call it me. And then, inevitably, the cloud changes, dissolves, or drifts away. And because we believed we lived on it, we feel we are falling, dissolving, disappearing. This is the root of so much suffering, especially as we age and the clouds of our youth, our health, our looks, our roles, naturally shift and fade. The practice of non-attachment, then, is not a cold detachment. It is the profound wisdom of learning to appreciate the sunset cloud without moving in. It is to love the cloud deeply, to be in awe of its beauty, but to always remember you are the sky that allows it to exist. Your home is the vastness, not the temporary formation. This means you can engage fully with life, love people, enjoy pleasures, work passionately, but from a place of inner freedom. You hold experiences with an open hand, not a clenched fist. A mind trained in this way meets the inevitable changes of aging not as personal failures or cruel losses, but as the natural, flowing weather of a long life. The body changes. The sky notices. A role ends. The sky remains. This perspective doesn't eliminate pain, but it prevents pain from curdling into perpetual suffering. It allows for grief without despair, for nostalgia without bitterness. It understands that all clouds, no matter how glorious or terrible, have one thing in common. They are guests in the sky. And the sky is always, already, at peace. Let's go deeper now, into the fertile soil from which both the weather and the sky arise, the realm of habit, of repeated action. This is the ground of our daily life, where the abstract becomes concrete. Buddhism places immense importance on this ground, teaching that our deepest character is not revealed in grand declarations, but in the small, almost invisible choices we make when no one is watching. There is a powerful concept known as sankhara, often translated as formations or volitional activities. These are the intentional actions of body, speech, and mind that, through repetition, shape our world. Think of it this way: your life is a grand, intricate tapestry. You are the weaver. But you are not weaving with large, dramatic sweeps of the shuttle. You are weaving with a single, tiny thread, passed through the loom again and again, moment by moment. The color of that thread is your intention in this instant. The pattern that eventually emerges, a scene of chaos or one of harmony, is the cumulative result of millions of these nearly invisible choices. We often live as if only the big moments matter: the job we take, the person we marry, the major crisis we survive. But Buddhism suggests that the fabric of our destiny is woven in the quiet, mundane hours. It is woven when you choose to take a deep breath instead of snapping in irritation. It is woven when you choose to complete a small task you promised yourself, building self-trust. It is woven when you choose to listen fully, instead of just waiting for your turn to speak. Conversely, it is also woven when you choose the path of least resistance for the 1000th time, deepening a rut of laziness. It is woven when you indulge a petty grievance, adding another dark thread to a pattern of resentment. The loom doesn't care what picture it's making. It just faithfully records every pass of the thread. Old age is the moment you finally step back to see the completed tapestry hanging before you. You will live within the landscape you wove. I knew a gardener named Maya. Her gift was not just for plants, but for compost. She maintained a series of bins in her backyard, a universe of decomposition and transformation. Every day, without fanfare, she would take her kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, eggshells, vegetable peels, and layer them mindfully into the bins with dry leaves, turning the mixture with a pitchfork. It was a humble, daily chore. Friends would ask why she didn't just buy bags of soil. She'd smile and say, "I'm not just feeding the plants. I'm learning the pace of renewal." For decades, this was her practice. When she grew older and could no longer manage a large garden, she had the richest, blackest, most fertile soil imaginable in pots on her patio. Her small container garden burst with life. More importantly, her mind had become like that soil. She had practiced the daily, patient work of transforming waste into nourishment, of trusting slow, unseen processes. When life presented her with losses or difficulties in her later years, she didn't see barren ground. She saw raw material for her inner compost, something to be mindfully integrated, turned over with reflection, and allowed to transform, in time, into wisdom. Her daily chore had been a masterclass in resilience. This is the essence of discipline in the Buddhist sense. It is not a harsh, military regimen imposed from outside. It is the loving, daily tending of your inner garden. It is applied patience. It is understanding that the majestic oak of a peaceful character grows from an acorn of a single good choice, watered daily by repetition. The Buddha called this right effort, the effort to cultivate skillful qualities and let unskillful ones wither. It is a gentle, persistent gardening, not a violent conquest. We often procrastinate on this inner gardening. We tell ourselves, "I'll be more patient when life is less stressful. I'll start meditating when I have more time. I'll deal with that anger later." This is like a gardener saying, "I'll start tending the soil when the harvest comes." It's backwards. The harvest comes from the tending. Later is a mirage built from 1,000 neglected nows. The habit you avoid confronting today does not get easier tomorrow, the avoidance itself becomes a stronger, thornier weed. Old age, then, can feel like walking into a garden you have neglected for decades, overgrown with the vigorous, tangled vines of long-ignored habits. The work of clearing it then is overwhelming. True discipline is therefore an act of profound compassion for your future self. It is the small kindness you do today that your older self will thank you for. Going to bed an hour earlier is a gift of clarity to tomorrow's mind. Choosing a walk over an hour of anxious scrolling is a deposit of calm into your nervous system's savings account. Apologizing when you're wrong is pulling a weed of pride before it chokes a relationship. These actions are quiet. They are private. They earn no applause. But they are the very threads of the tapestry. This understanding transforms discipline from a chore into a sacred trust. You are the guardian of a life, your own. Every mindful choice is an act of stewardship. When you see this, you realize that freedom is not the absence of all structure, but the glorious freedom that comes from self-mastery. A ship without a rudder is not free, it is at the mercy of every wave and wind. A ship with a strong rudder and a skilled captain is free to chart its own course. Your disciplined habits are your rudder. Your awareness is your captain. As you age and the seas of life can become more unpredictable, that inner rudder and skilled captain are what will allow you to navigate with dignity, purpose, and peace, rather than being tossed about by regret, reactivity, and fear. So, look to your daily loom. What color is the thread in your hand right now? Is it the gold of kindness or the gray of indifference? Is it the green of growth or the brown of stagnation? You are always weaving. The great news is that you can always choose a different color for the very next pass of the shuttle. You can begin, right now, to change the emerging pattern. The tapestry of your old age is not yet complete. You are still at the loom. Now we must venture into a more subtle, yet deeply powerful, dimension of our being, the world of emotion. Often, we think of emotions as temporary visitors. They come, they overwhelm us, and then they leave. We wait them out, like a sudden downpour. But what if that's not the whole story? Buddhism invites us to see emotions not just as passing weather, but as seeds. A moment of anger is not just a flash of heat, it is a seed planted in the deep soil of the mind. A wave of grief is not just a temporary ache, it is a seed. A flicker of jealousy, a pang of fear, a surge of pride, all are seeds. And here is the crucial understanding: a seed can do one of two things. It can land on the surface, sprout quickly, be felt fully, and then, having completed its life cycle, it can decompose, returning its energy to the soil. Or, if the conditions are not right for it to be fully acknowledged, it can lie dormant. It can get buried. It can go underground. And a buried seed does not die. It waits. It gathers potential energy. And under the right pressure, often the quiet pressure of time, it can suddenly, forcefully, sprout. Not as a single, passing feeling, but as a thick, woody, established part of your inner landscape. A thicket of chronic bitterness. A forest of pervasive anxiety. A hardened, rocky layer of sorrow. This is why emotional awareness is not self-indulgence. It is essential ecology. It is the practice of tending the soil of your heart-mind so that seeds can complete their natural cycle, rather than being stored as latent, explosive potential. When you feel the heat of anger arise, to pause and say, "This is anger," and to feel its texture without immediately acting on it, is to allow that seed to sprout on the surface, in the light of your awareness. You see it for what it is, a temporary, conditioned response. It flowers, it is witnessed, and it withers. Its energy is released. But when you habitually suppress anger, swallow it, justify it, or instantly distract yourself from it, you are, with great effort, burying that seed. You are doing the hard work of digging a hole and pressing it down into the dark. The problem is, you have to carry the weight of all that buried potential. And one day, often when your physical energy is lower and your defenses are down, a seemingly small event provides the last bit of pressure, and not just one, but a whole underground network of buried anger seeds erupts at once. This is what we often call a breakdown or being unable to cope. It feels sudden, but its roots are decades deep. Let me tell you about a teacher named Samuel. He was a pillar of his community, a man known for his unflappable calm. He saw his role as a solver of problems, an absorber of stress. When he felt sadness, he'd work harder. When he felt fear, he'd make a plan. When he felt hurt, he'd rationalize it away. He believed emotions were for the weak, and strength meant rising above them. For 50 years, he was the steady rock. Upon retirement, the structure of work that had absorbed so much of his focus vanished. And within a year, he was diagnosed with a debilitating autoimmune disease. His doctors were puzzled. But in the quiet of his sick room, Samuel finally stopped. And all the unfelt grief of a hard childhood, the unacknowledged fear of failing his family, the unexpressed anger at injustices he'd endured, all of it rose not as memories, but as a physical tsunami in his body. His unflappable calm had been a lid on a boiling pot. The pot had finally cracked. His later years became a painful battle not just with illness, but with a tidal wave of emotion he had no skills to process. He had spent a lifetime burying seeds, and his body became the field in which they all forced their way to the surface. Buddhism does not ask us to be drowned by our emotions. It asks for something more courageous, to be intimate with them. To meet them at the door, recognize them, and allow them to move through the house of our being, without letting them redecorate or take up permanent residence. This is the practice of mindfulness of feeling, Vedananupassana. When sadness comes, you don't say, "I am sad," which identifies you with the weather. You say, "There is sadness," which acknowledges the weather while remembering you are the sky. You feel the ache, the heaviness. You breathe into it. You let it be. By giving it compassionate space, you allow it to move. A fully felt emotion has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A buried one is timeless, it haunts. This daily practice of emotional honesty is perhaps the greatest gift you can give your future self. It ensures that you are not carrying a backpack full of undealt with emotional stones into the later stages of your journey, when your shoulders may be less strong. It lightens the load incrementally, day by day. Each time you acknowledge irritation instead of pretending it's not there, you take a small stone out of the pack. Each time you let yourself truly cry over a loss, you empty a pocket of heaviness. An old age lived by someone who has practiced this is not an emotionless void. It is a landscape that has been weathered, yes, but also cleared. The emotional storms may still come, but they move through cleanly, without leaving behind wreckage from previous, unprocessed storms. There is a resilience, a transparency. The heart may be scarred, but it is not calloused. It remains capable of feeling joy, love, and wonder deeply, because it has not been numbed by avoidance. The sorrows have been integrated, not imprisoned. This is the path to an old age not of emotional brittleness, but of emotional depth and freedom, a heart that is light because it has been honestly heavy, and has learned, through practice, how to put the weight down. Let us now turn our attention outward, to the space between us, the realm of relationships, of speech, of action. It's easy to think of our interactions with others as separate from our inner world, as external events that happen to us. Buddhism dissolves this illusion with a powerful and practical truth: there is no solid wall between the inner and the outer. How you treat others is not merely social behavior, it is active sculpting of your own inner climate. Every word you speak, every gesture you make, is a chisel stroke on the marble of your own heart. Kindness carves out space within you, creating room for peace to reside. Harshness, criticism, indifference, these chip away at that inner space, leaving behind a cramped, echoing, and cold interior. You are, in a very real sense, building the world you will have to live in when all other voices fall silent. Consider speech. Words are not neutral. They are vibrations that originate within you, travel out into the world, and, most importantly, reverberate back through your own being long after they are heard by others. Harsh speech, sarcasm, gossip, cutting criticism, is like swallowing tiny shards of glass. They may wound the other person, but they cut your own throat first. They create micro-tears in your own compassion, your own sense of connection. Each harsh word reinforces a neural pathway of judgment and separation within you. Conversely, speech that is truthful, gentle, and well-timed is like drinking warm, clear water. It hydrates your own spirit as it flows out. It soothes your nervous system. It strengthens pathways of patience and empathy within your own mind. The voice you use most often with others becomes, slowly and inevitably, your inner narrator. In the quiet of old age, which narrator would you prefer to live with? One that replays a lifetime of criticism, or one that whispers with the gentle tone of understanding? I remember two brothers who ran a small ferry service across a wide, slow river. Elias, the older, was efficient and sharp-tongued. He dealt with customers briskly, often with a sigh or a muttered complaint about the wind, the weight, the slowness of others. His brother, Micah, was quiet. He helped passengers aboard, listened to their stories, and often worked in silent contentment. Passengers always sought out Micah's boat, even if they had to wait. For 40 years, this was their dynamic. When they finally sold the business and retired, their lives diverged starkly. Elias, in his small house by the river, became a bitter man. He complained about the new ferry operators, about the noise, about his aches. His visitors dwindled. His inner world was a reflection of the critical, impatient tone he had broadcast for decades. Micah, however, took up whittling by the water. Neighbors and children would stop by just to sit in the calm of his presence. His old age was one of simple contentment and connection. The outer work of ferrying was gone. All that remained was the inner atmosphere each brother had cultivated through a lifetime of interactions, one stormy and isolated, the other calm and welcoming. This is the Buddhist teaching on karma of body, speech, and mind in its most interpersonal form. Your actions are seeds, yes, but the most immediate soil they fall upon is your own heart. A generous act plants a seed of abundance within you. A patient response plants a seed of resilience. A forgiven grievance clears a patch of fertile ground for peace to grow. When you are young and energetic, you may not notice the quality of this inner soil. The winds of activity distract you. But as life slows, you are left to till this very soil, to live off its harvest. If it is rocky and depleted from years of neglect or toxicity, your later years will be a struggle. If it is rich and well-tended from years of compassionate action, it will sustain you with unexpected grace. Therefore, the practice of right relationship is not a moral commandment imposed from outside. It is the most pragmatic form of self-care. Before you speak or act, you can cultivate a moment of pause. In that space, you can ask a simple, transformative question. Is this action planting a seed of peace or a seed of suffering, in the world and, just as importantly, within me? This question turns daily life into a practice of profound inner cultivation. Letting go of grudges, then, is not just for the other person's peace, it is releasing a burden you are carrying in your own arms. Offering help without expectation is not just charity, it is an exercise in expanding your own sense of capacity and connection. Listening deeply is not just a gift to the speaker, it is training your own mind in patience and presence. Every interaction is a dual opportunity, to affect the outer world and to architect your inner one. As the body weakens and the external world of doing narrows, this inner architecture becomes your entire dwelling place. Will it be a fortress of loneliness, with walls built from judgment and moats of resentment? Or will it be an open garden, where the walls have dissolved, and the peace you cultivated through kindness now blooms freely for you to enjoy? In this light, compassion for others is revealed as inseparable from compassion for yourself. They are two sides of the same coin. The kindness you extend today is a stone you are placing in the foundation of your own future sanctuary. This is not a metaphor. It is a cause and effect reality of the mind. Every act of generosity builds your inner capacity for joy. Every moment of patience strengthens your inner resilience against life's irritations. You are, through your outward behavior, writing the rules for the inner world you will inhabit tomorrow, and for all the tomorrows to come. Let's speak now of a force that quietly shapes every story we've touched upon, the force of time, and our relationship to it. We often live as if we are standing on a solid bank, watching the river of time flow past. We plan for the future, we reminisce about the past, and we often miss the truth. We are not on the bank. We are the river. Every moment is a new current, a new confluence of water. The you of 5 years ago is not the you of now, it is the upstream water that has already flowed into the sea. The you of tomorrow is the downstream water that has not yet been gathered from the springs. Buddhism calls this fundamental truth anicca, impermanence. It is not a philosophical idea, it is the very nature of existence. To resist it is to be like a river fighting its own flow, exhausting, futile, and the source of immense suffering. Our preparation for the later stages of life, then, is not about building a dam to stop the flow. It is about learning to swim with grace, to navigate the changing currents, and to appreciate the beauty of the journey itself. Much of our anxiety about aging stems from a deep-seated belief in continuity, the belief that the conditions of our life should remain stable. We attach to our health, our roles, our capabilities, our relationships as if they are permanent fixtures. But the river does not stop. The body changes. Relationships transform. Abilities shift. When we meet these changes with shock and resistance, this shouldn't be happening. We create a whirlpool of suffering. We are fighting the current. The practice Buddhism offers is the cultivation of flow mind. This is a mind that understands its own river nature. It observes the banks changing shape. It feels the temperature of the water grow cooler. It notices the flow slowing. It does not protest. It adapts. It finds a new way to swim. This acceptance is not passive resignation, it is dynamic, intelligent alignment with reality. It is the ultimate source of resilience. I knew a clockmaker, old man Henri, whose shop was a symphony of ticks and tocks. He spent his life repairing intricate mechanisms, restoring order to timepieces that had lost their rhythm. You'd think a man so devoted to precision would struggle with life's inevitable entropy. But Henri had a secret practice. Every evening, he would sit on his back porch and watch the ancient oak tree in his yard. He didn't just glance at it, he observed it. The way a specific branch swayed differently in a spring breeze than in an autumn gale. The slow, almost invisible creep of moss up its north side. The way the light hit its leaves at 5:32 p.m. in July versus 5:32 p.m. in October. He was studying impermanence in its most majestic, slow-motion form. When his eyes began to fail and he could no longer work on tiny clock gears, he wasn't devastated. He simply shifted his attention. He could still feel the bark, smell the seasons change, hear the wind in the leaves. He told me, I spent my life fixing machines that measure time. Now, I sit with a being that lives it. His old age was not a broken clock, it was a deepening communion with the tree's timeless lesson of change. He had practiced seeing flow, so when his own current slowed, he knew how to be in it. This is the heart of the practice, to become a student of change now. To notice the small impermanences. The fading of a flower in a vase, the ending of a pleasant meal, the passing of a mood. Each small observation is a rehearsal for the larger changes to come. When you fully integrate the truth that everything is in flux, a miraculous shift occurs. You stop clinging so tightly to the way things are. You begin to hold experiences lightly, like precious leaves floating on the surface of your river. You appreciate them all the more precisely because you know they will drift on. This flow mind is the antidote to the regret that can poison later years. Regret is the attempt to dam the river upstream, to go back and change the water that has already flowed to the sea. It is a futile fight against time itself. A mind trained in impermanence still feels remorse for unskillful actions, but it does not fossilize into regret. It sees past actions as currents that have shaped the riverbed, influencing the present flow. The lesson is learned, and then the mind returns to the present current, the only place where life is actually happening, the only place where you can swim, choose, and breathe. Ultimately, to prepare for old age is to fall in love with the river of your own life, in all its seasons. It is to trust the flow. This trust is not naive, it is built on the direct observation that fighting the current is exhausting, while aligning with it brings a profound, effortless strength. Your body will change. Let it be a change, not a defeat. Your mind will change. Let it be an adaptation, not a failure. Your circumstances will change. Let them be new landscapes on the riverbank, not losses of the old ones. When you live this way, the later stages of life are not a frightening journey into unknown waters. They are a graceful continuation of the flow you have been learning to navigate all along. You become less a passenger fighting the current, and more the river itself, wise, deep, and moving always, always, homeward. Let's explore a sanctuary that exists within the flow, a place of refuge that is not subject to the river's changes. We've spoken of the mind as sky, as clay, as a river. But there is a dimension even more fundamental. Buddhism points to a quality of simple, bare awareness, the capacity to know, to be conscious, to be present. This is not your thoughts, which are like birds flying through the sky. It is not your emotions, which are like weather. It is not even your sense of self, which is like a story told by the river. This aware presence is more like the very space in which the sky exists, the silent ground upon which the river flows. It is unchanging, unmoving, and inherently peaceful. It is what you truly are, beneath all the conditions. Your lifelong journey, and your preparation for all its chapters, is the process of forgetting this space, and then, gradually, remembering it. We spend most of our lives fascinated by the birds, terrified of the storms, and identified with the story. We believe we are the content of our experience. I am sad. I am a failure. I am a teacher. These are temporary formations appearing in the space of awareness. But when you believe you are the formation, you become fragile, because formations change and end. Suffering is the pain of a formation fighting its own dissolution, while ignoring the vast, silent space that holds it. The practice of meditation, of mindfulness, is not about creating a new, better formation, a peaceful mind. It is the gentle, repeated turning of attention from the formation back to the space that is aware of it. It is the remembering of your true home. I met a woman once, a potter named Gwen, who lived through a great personal tragedy. For years, she was defined by her grief. She said she felt like a shattered vase, glued back together but forever cracked, unable to hold anything without leaking. Then, in her 60s, she began a simple practice. For 10 minutes each morning, she would sit and do nothing but listen to the most distant sound she could hear. The far-off hum of a highway. A bird call from 2 fields over. The faint rustle of wind in high leaves. She wasn't trying to relax or feel better. She was just practicing listening to the space between the obvious, close sounds. Over time, she said something shifted. She began to feel that her grief, her memories, her very sense of being broken were like close, loud sounds. But behind them, or rather, within and around them, was a vast, listening space that was not broken at all. It was simply aware. It could hold the sound of grief without being shattered by it. She didn't get over her loss. Instead, she discovered the part of her that had never been touched by it, the silent, aware space that witnessed both joy and sorrow come and go. Her old age became not about managing her cracks, but about resting as the wholeness that contained them. This is the ultimate preparation. It is not about building a perfect, unaging formation called a good old age. It is about cultivating familiarity with the timeless awareness that is already within you, that is already whole, and that will be there through every single change, all the way to the last breath. When you know yourself as this aware space, the inevitable declines of the body and mind are met with a profound kind of stability. You can feel pain, and know the awareness that feels it is not in pain. You can experience confusion, and know the awareness that is confused is itself clear. You can lose memories, and know the aware presence that witnessed those memories is not lost. How do you cultivate this? You begin by noticing the gaps. In the middle of a stressful thought, there is a tiny pause before the next one arises. Rest there. In the space between two tasks, there is a moment of pure being before you rush into the next thing. Linger there. When you first wake up, before the mental list engages, there is a soft, open awareness. Abide there. These are doorways. You are not trying to achieve a special state. You are simply recognizing the state that is always already here, beneath the noise. An old age rooted in this recognition is transformed. It is no longer merely a biological process of decline. It becomes a deepening, a settling, a coming home. The external world may simplify. The inner noise may quiet. And in that quiet, what becomes most apparent is not absence, but presence, the simple, luminous fact of being aware. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is not dependent on health, wealth, or circumstance. It is the nature of your own mind, revealed when you stop confusing it with its contents. Therefore, the most important thing you can do today for the person you will become is to pause, and remember the space. Just for a moment. Feel the breath come and go. Notice the field of hearing. Sense the aliveness in the body. In doing so, you are not just calming your nerves for today. You are sending a message forward in time. You are reminding your future self of its true, unshakable home. You are building a refuge that no season of life can erode. We have walked through the inner landscapes, the body, the mind, the heart, the space of awareness. Now let us bring our gaze to the most practical field of all, our daily environment, the rhythm of our hours, the structure of our ordinary life. This is where philosophy meets the floorboards. Buddhism does not ask us to transcend the mundane, but to sanctify it. There is a profound teaching on sila, often translated as virtue or ethical conduct. But at its core, sila is about harmonious living. It is the art of arranging your daily actions, what you consume, how you speak, how you work, how you rest, in a way that creates minimal friction, both in the world and, most critically, within your own being. It is the creation of a life that is inwardly quiet enough to hear the whispers of wisdom. Think of your daily life as a pond. Unskillful actions are like throwing stones into the water. A harsh word is a stone. A greedy choice is a stone. A moment of deceit is a stone. Each one creates ripples of disturbance that spread outward, affecting others, but they also create chaotic, intersecting waves that churn the surface of your own inner pond. When your pond is constantly churned, it becomes muddy. You cannot see the bottom, the clear depths of your own intuition and peace. You live in a state of perpetual agitation. Skillful action, in contrast, is like placing a leaf gently on the surface. It may create a tiny, graceful ripple, but it settles. It allows the silt to fall, the water to clear. A life built on sila is a life dedicated to letting the pond settle, day after day, so you can see your own reflection clearly, and see the stars reflected back at you in the still water of night. This is not about a list of rigid rules. It is about the intention behind the action. It is asking yourself, is what I am about to do, say, or think likely to increase peace or disturbance? Will it add a stone or a leaf to my pond? This moment of mindful choice is the pivot point of your destiny. We often believe our environment shapes us, and it does. But more powerfully, we shape our inner environment through our microscopic responses to the outer one. Your old age will be spent floating on the pond you have been either churning or calming for decades. I knew a retired bus driver named Walter. His job had been chaos, traffic, schedules, loud passengers. To cope, he developed a habit of coming home and creating absolute, regimented order. Every tool in his garage was outlined on the wall. His pantry was alphabetized. His evening news was watched at exactly 6:17 p.m. This control soothed him. When he retired, the external chaos of the job vanished, but his inner need for rigid order remained, now with nothing big to control. He turned it on his wife, his garden, his own routines. His pond was still churning, but now from the inside out. His sila, his way of living, was based on control, not harmony. It created friction at home and a brittle anxiety within him. It was only when his wife gently suggested he simply sit with her on the porch each evening, no schedule, just watching the street, that he began to experience a different rhythm. The deliberate, shared inactivity became a new kind of order, the order of presence. He began to let the pond settle. His later years softened because his daily structure softened from control into allowance. Your daily structure is your practice ground. How you begin your morning sets the tone of the pond for the day. A frantic scroll through news on your phone is throwing in a handful of pebbles before you're even out of bed. A few minutes of silence, of stretching, of looking out the window, is placing a leaf. What you consume, the food, the media, the conversations, is either clear water or more silt. The work you do, and the attitude you bring to it, either agitates or calms. Evenings spent numbly absorbing stimulation create waves that last long into the night. Evenings with a moment of reflection, a conversation, or simple rest allow for settling. The goal is to create a life rhythm that is self-cleansing. Like a spring-fed pond that has a gentle inflow and outflow, keeping the water fresh. This is the rhythm of right living, balanced effort and rest, engagement and solitude, consumption and creation. When this rhythm is established, the mind finds a natural equilibrium. It is less jerked around by external events because the inner environment is stable and clear. This clarity is your greatest asset as you age. When physical energy wanes and the world's demands recede, you are left with the rhythm you have practiced. If it is a rhythm of anxiety and reaction, that will be your internal weather. If it is a rhythm of mindful presence and harmonious action, that will be your climate. Therefore, look to your pond today. Is it churned? You need not despair. Simply stop throwing stones. Be still. The silt will settle. Make the next choice a leaf, not a stone. This is the daily, practical path. It is not dramatic, but it is how you build a life that culminates not in turmoil, but in a profound, still clarity, the clear pond of an untroubled heart, reflecting the vast and peaceful sky. We have journeyed together through the many layers of being. The body, the mind, the heart, the silent awareness, the flow of time, and the daily pond of our actions. We have seen how each moment is a seed, each choice a brick, each word a sculptor's tool, each breath a return to the space that holds all things. Now, we arrive at the culmination, not as an end, but as a gathering. All these threads, discipline, awareness, letting go, compassion, harmony, are not separate practices. They are facets of a single, luminous jewel, a life lived awake. Old age, in this light, is not a separate country with foreign rules. It is the natural, honest revealing of the life you have lived awake, or asleep. It is the harvest of your attention. If your attention has been scattered, lost in past regret, future worry, and present distraction, the harvest will be a field of weeds, difficult to walk through. If your attention has been gathered, planted in the present moment with care, with kindness, with clear seeing, the harvest will be a field of wisdom, a landscape you can walk through with dignity, even as the light softens. Buddhism does not promise you a life without pain. It promises you a way to meet pain that does not add the suffering of resistance to it. It does not promise you a mind without thought. It promises you the freedom to not be enslaved by your thoughts. It does not promise you a body that does not age. It promises you a relationship with your body based on stewardship, not tyranny. It does not promise you eternal relationships. It promises you a heart that can love deeply without clinging, and therefore can grieve without shattering. This is the practical, attainable peace we have been exploring. So, what is the final preparation? It is to begin now. Not tomorrow, when you have more time, less stress, a better plan. Now, in the middle of whatever your life contains. The preparation is the practice, and the practice is the goal. There is no finish line to cross where you are suddenly ready for old age. Readiness is the quality you cultivate in this very instant. When you feel the impulse to speak harshly, and you pause, that is readiness. When you feel the body's fatigue, and you honor it with rest, that is readiness. When a wave of old grief arises, and you meet it with gentle breath, that is readiness. When a plan falls apart, and you sigh and adapt, that is readiness. When you look in the mirror and see a new line, and you smile at the life that put it there, that is readiness. Each of these moments is a stitch in the garment you will wear in your later years. Will it be a garment of lightness and warmth, woven from threads of acceptance and awareness? Or will it be a heavy, coarse fabric, woven from threads of resentment, fear, and neglect? The loom is in your hands, and the shuttle is this present moment. Let us end with one final story, not of an elder, but of a middle-aged woman named Anya. Anya was not a spiritual seeker. She was an accountant. She lived in numbers and lists. In her 40s, she developed a habit. On her walk from the subway to her office, a 7-minute journey, she would put her phone away. She would not plan her day. She would not rehearse conversations. She would simply walk. She would feel her feet on the pavement. She would notice one thing in a shop window. She would feel the air on her face. She called it her 7 minutes of sanity. It felt like nothing. A tiny, meaningless reset. She did this for 25 years. When she retired, her colleagues worried the lack of structure would unravel her. But Anya simply expanded her 7 minutes. She now had 70 minutes, or 7 hours. The sanity, the simple, grounded presence she had practiced in those tiny windows of time, had become her default state. Her old age was not a shocking emptiness. It was a spacious, familiar quiet. She had, in the most ordinary way possible, been practicing for it all along. This is the great secret. The practice for a peaceful old age is not a separate project. It is the art of living this age, whatever age you are, with more presence, more kindness, more honesty. You are always in training. The training ground is your life, exactly as it is. So, from this moment forward, see your life as your temple. Your breath is the prayer. Your actions are the offerings. Your attention is the candle flame. Tend to it all with gentle, consistent care. Do not wait for a better time, a quieter time, a more spiritual time. The best time is now. The quiet is underneath the noise. The spiritual is hidden within the ordinary. You are building the home your soul will inhabit in the winter of your years. Build it with the materials of love, awareness, and integrity. Build it so well that when the winds blow and the world outside grows still, you will sit inside, not in darkness, but in the warm, golden light of a life lived awake, a light you kindled, day by patient day, starting today. Thank you for walking this path with me. May your journey be gentle, your heart light, and your awareness steady, from this breath to your last, and beyond.